Hello and welcome to today's episode of the We're Not Experts History podcast with me, Sarah, and James. Hi, James.
Hello.
Hi. So, hello. It's your turn today. What have you got for us?
Well, I don't really know. I don't know if I'd be bothered.
Should we just cut now, or?
Yeah.
Or you could tell us about something interesting.
Oh, I could tell you about Eilean Mòr, a little mystery from the turn of the 20th century. The first mystery for me was how to pronounce it, because it's spelled Eilean Mo with an accent over it, R. So I went onto YouTube and I found a Scottish fellow who pronounced it Eilean Mòr.
Eilean Mòr.
I decided he would be better than the American person I found who pronounced it Eilean Mòr.
Do you know when you messaged me the subject, I read it as Eilean and I was thinking, who's Eilean Mòr? And then I realised that it was a place and not a person. Yes. But anyway,
I would have gone with Eilean because Eilean Mòr means big island in Scottish Gaelic. It's one of several small little uninhabited islands known as the Flannan Isles, I should say. They're about 20 miles west of the Isle of Lewis, which is in the Outer Hebrides of Scotland. And they're very remote, sort of relentlessly battered by the winds and the sea of the North Atlantic.
Until you said that, I was thinking I might move there, but yeah, maybe not. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, see what the internet's first like.
Yeah, that is true.
They've long been a hazard of shipping, I suppose. They're there out in the dark, you're not going to see them, and the sea can push you towards them. Mm-hmm. So the idea was to safeguard all this shipping, navigating through these dangerous waters and around the Flannan Isles with a lighthouse, which was built on the westernmost point of Eilean Mòr in 1895, and then it was 4 years before the light was eventually turned on in December 1899. So it's think where it is, it's got to be sturdy, it's got to be well built. It's got that white sturdy brick tower, apparently it's 75 feet high, and on top of it is the light, which it was then, I doubt it is now. It's powered by paraffin, and it had like a complex magnifying lens which would then send out this powerful flash every 30 seconds for miles around.
Wow.
So anyone near it would know, that's Eilean Mòr or Eilean.
Have you been to the top of a lighthouse by any chance?
Let me think. Did I go to the one? I went to one in Plymouth. I can't remember if I went up the top or not. Don't think I did.
No, because we went to one, I think it was somewhere in Norfolk, and I don't think it was still a working lighthouse, or was it? I can't remember. But yeah, it's quite fascinating because you see what you just described. You actually see it all, and it's so big. Well, I guess it has to be because it's got to put out this massive beam. But I remember it was just really interesting to see it. But anyway, carry on. Sorry, I will stop butting in.
Right, I shall carry on. So there's a mystery that surrounds Eilean Mòr, and it started on the 26th of December 1900.
1900. Sorry, you cut out a little bit then. 1900s, you said, yeah.
Yeah, 26th of December 1900.
Right.
And it started when a relief vessel called the Hesperus went to this island or this isle.
Yeah.
Anything else? You coughed through my last one.
I still haven't got rid of my COVID cough. I'm so sorry. I've still got the lingering cough. I've been trying to hold it in, but right. Sorry about this.
It's been a long night.
Anyway,
right, so this relief vessel has gone to change over the staff.
Right.
So as they've approached the island, they would expect to see someone there waiting for them, but there's no one there. It's just silent.
So the lighthouse keeper, you mean? The lighthouse staff?
Yeah, at least one person would be there to meet them.
Right, okay.
But there's no signs. It's quite. Well, I think as they're approaching it, they would think, well, this isn't right. There's always someone that comes out. So it's this absence occurring in such a remote, self-contained environment. So it has caused what is a quite enduring maritime mystery in the UK. There's a lot of facts that are known about it, but there's still no real solution as to what's caused this.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So the actual Eilean Mòr, where they are, it's hard to explain what it is. It looks like it doesn't gradually go up to the top, which is quite level. There's a steep, rugged landscape, but this I don't even know. It's a steep cliffs, some rocky outcrops.
Oh, okay.
And there's no really easy path apart from one that they put in. And on top of it, it's like grass and probably moss. There's no trees. There's no natural harbour. So it's not inhabited.
No,
there is no.
You know what I was trying to say.
Full time.
So it's just the lighthouse for a safety aspect.
The lighthouse and the keepers. Yeah. So getting up to it by ship is going to be difficult. So they would almost certainly have rowed to this little area they've cleared and put in. So life on this lighthouse was governed by the rhythm of the light, which had to go on. So that is a definite. You know that's there. Then you'd have three keepers work to rota. Then they'd make sure the lamp was working from dusk till dawn every night, and their days would then be structured around maintaining the machinery of the light, cleaning the lenses, which would have been meticulous. You would have had to be so careful to make sure you did a perfect job on it. And you'd have to keep the station in perfect order as well. And that would have been a responsibility for the staff, as well as recording weather observations into a logbook, which was a crucial task for the maritime safety at the time. And for maybe having a record of the conditions on this very remote outpost. Then obviously with the communication with the mainland was infrequent. It would have been when the relief vessel turned up, and that would only been every few weeks if the weather was decent. So these visits were vital for bringing supplies, bringing the mail, and for new personnel, the changeover. But between visits, the keepers were entirely self-reliant. So they had their own companions amongst themselves, but they also had the companions, which were the seabirds that nested in this area.
All right.
And I imagine that's going to be quite noisy, as well as the wind and the waves.
Yeah. So very isolated.
Yeah.
Sounds quite nice.
Yeah, it doesn't say about Wi-Fi. I don't know if the Victorians put it in. I don't think you'd manage.
No, I probably wouldn't actually.
You'd struggle, especially if we're trying to record one of these.
Yeah.
It's bad enough.
Let's take a dongle, it'll be fine. And
bad enough I've got you coughing and farting through my speeches without the wind, got the wind. And
I have never farted during one of your speeches.
I'm waiting for it.
I must admit, my chair has made some noises. And I did kind of think, I hope that doesn't pick up like a fart sound. But disclaimer, it's the chair, it's not me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's not me, and the chair stinks as well. So the lighthouse is a testament to Victorian engineering, because where it is just going to get battered. Majority of the time, I would have thought, it's out on the North Sea, it's just going to get hammered. In this harsh environment, so it's solid stone tower, and then you've got this complex optical apparatus at the top. Somewhere in the middle, you've got living quarters, so it's all got to be solid. So everyone and everything is safe.
Right.
But the quarters would have been basic. They would have provided shelter and some comfort. I would have thought in what is quite an isolated existence, I suppose.
In Victorian times too, that comfort was a little bit different to ours.
Yeah, I suppose if you've got to go outside for some reason, at least you've got some safety and a little bit of warmth to go back to.
Yes, that would certainly help.
Yeah, so the the keepers, you've got 3 people sharing this quarters. They're sharing meals as well. I say sharing meals. They're all probably eating at the same time. But then to pass the time, you can read. You might have hobbies just to pass the hours, play on the Xbox, wonder why the Wi-Fi's not working.
Yeah.
Listen to someone farting through your conversations.
I've never done that. Just to make that clear.
I've only got your word for it. So, bear in mind, this isolation for weeks on end with these 3 same people is going to put on a significant psychological burden on each of these people. So the camaraderie between the 3 lighthouse keepers is crucial. It's got to be good for the sake of the lighthouse and the sake of their well-being. So the occasional arrival of a relief vessel was an insignificant event. Oh, finally I can get away from these 2 idiots.
Do you know, do you reckon that's why lighthouse keepers were men? Because imagine putting 3 women in that situation. They'd kill each other. They wouldn't... I can tell you that for a fact.
Far be it from me to say yes.
Honestly, I'm not even lying.
Bearing in mind, it's a different time as well, so it's probably not even seen as women's work, that sort of attitude.
No, but that would be why, because women just... No, it just wouldn't happen.
Yeah, you'd have put a lampshade over the light and all sorts, yeah.
Yeah, and you'd have cat fights daily, promise you.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But anyway, that's why I think it was a man's job. But anyway, continue.
Yeah, so yeah, just leaves them to go mad. But as I say, the relief vessels, they break the monotony, and it's this a vital link to the outside world. So you've had 3 weeks of just what's going on the island. There's not going to be a newspaper, so you've got to wait for this relief vessel to turn up so you can find out what else is going on and contact family, friends and family. So the very nature of their duty demands diligence and responsibility, and also that tolerance for solitude.
Yeah.
In a very, very small area. So I can't put out with this. I'm going for a walk for a couple of hours. You're not going anywhere. Walk around the lighthouse. So the relief vessel, this is called Hesperus. I did look up what that meant. I can't remember what it means. So it was commanded by Captain James Harvey, and it set sail from Flannan Isles on the Isle of Lewis. They said, I've made a pig's ear. You might as well have coughed through that.
Yeah,
Islands,
it'll add to it.
From the Isle of Lewis on Monday the 24th of December.
Yeah.
The idea was it was taking a flock of fresh set of keepers as well as supplies to the lighthouse. So the men scheduled to be relieved. Well, they were coming. They must have been looking forward to this, especially Boxing Day. 3 days sitting in the lighthouse watching The Great Escape with 2 people you can't get on with.
Yeah,
it must have been absolutely horrendous. But so the 3 people in the lighthouse, you had the principal keeper was a man called Thomas Marshall. Then you had a second assistant keeper was a man called James. I'm going to say Ducat. I don't know if that's right. I'm going to guess
Ducat.
And there's also a fella called Donald MacArthur who had the interesting title of occasional keeper. I'm assuming he was occasionally unkempt. So Marshall was 40. He was a seasoned keeper, and he was known for being very conscientious. And you had Ducat was 43, and he was very experienced. He'd worked in various lighthouses, and then MacArthur was 40, and he was known for his stoic nature and for his reliability.
Right.
But due to how bad the weather was, the Hesperus was delayed and it didn't reach Eilean Mòr until Boxing Day, so 2 days after it had initially left. And I imagine it shouldn't have been anything like that long. So as Hesperus approaches the island, Captain Harvey notes that there is no one's come out. The keeper hasn't come out. So for their arrival on the landing stage.
Yeah, unusual. Right.
Normally there's a flag which should have been waving. That's not up. So they've tried to signal the keepers using the ship's whistle and a flare, but there's no response whatsoever, which is unheard of. This doesn't happen.
Well, yeah, I mean, we know how loud a ship's whistle is, but it's loud.
Yeah, it's
if you've ever been on a ship and you've heard one, but
yeah, I would, if you haven't, I would equate it to someone coughing through a podcast. It's that loud and annoying. So they launch a rowboat with a relief keeper on it, named Joseph Moore, and they row up to the landing stage. And obviously, there's still no one there, and there's no provision boxes, which should have been waiting to be loaded onto Hesperus. Which is another. This is part of the established routine they were expecting. It's not happened. So he goes aboard, goes onto this landing stage, and he climbs up the 160 odd steps up to the top, and then he carries on walking until he gets to the lighthouse. So he gets into the living quarters, nothing there. Goes into the kitchen. There's a meal laid out, which appears to be half eaten, and there's a chair lying on the floor upturned.
Oh.
Which sort of suggests
something they've rushed out, yeah.
And not gone back, yeah. The lamps throughout the lighthouse were ready for lighting. They had all been trimmed, ready to go, and the mechanism for the main light was in perfect working order, but no sign of the keepers at all.
Oh, that's really strange.
Yeah. So he then goes into the room where the beds are, and they're all unmade. But what's got him the most is that should be 3 sets of oilskins, which are waterproof coats worn by the keepers. 2 of them have gone. Right. So you wear one of these when you're going outside in the bad weather.
Right.
The one set that was left belonged to Donald MacArthur, who was the occasional keeper, and that suggests that the other 2 have gone out, and he's gone out in a hurry. They've looked into this lighthouse logbook, which was kept in its usual place where it should have been. And the last entry dated from 9 a.m. on the 15th of December, and it's talking about severe storms.
Right.
Which was very odd because the crew of the Hesperus on that day had experienced calm seas. It was calm. And mainland reports didn't say there was any severe gales in the area for several days up until the day Hesperus has got there. So Joseph Moore then goes back to the Hesperus and he gives them the bad news. The lighthouse is operational, it's fine, but the 3 fellas have gone, they've disappeared, and there's no trace of them. After that, they then send the ship's crew on, or most of them, onto the island, search the whole island, nothing, no sign of them whatsoever.
They didn't find them?
They didn't find them at all, no sign of them whatsoever. So following this report from Joseph Moore, the formal inquiries were promptly initiated by the Northern Lighthouse Board. They were the authority that were responsible for lighthouses in Scotland and the Isle of Man. The superintendent of this Northern Lighthouse Board was a man called Robert Muirhead, and he had personally hired all 3 of these keepers, and he was immediately dispatched to Eilean Mòr on the Hesperus to go through a more thorough investigation. Now, if you look this up online, you can find a photo of all 3 of those men and Robert Muirhead.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I've got your handout in front of me, and I've got it. Yeah, they've all got
mention the handout. That ruins the magic.
Sorry.
You've ruined the magic. I'm meant to be making out. This is all off the top of my head. I know this thoroughly.
You can cut that bit out.
I forget where I live day to day. But yeah, it's a great photo. 3 or 4 smartly dressed men with amazing moustaches.
Yes.
We go back to Mr. Muirhead. His inquiry begins not long after the initial discovery, and he wants to find out the facts, establish the cause of this disappearance. He just wants the facts. So he produces this very detailed report and he submits it to the Lighthouse Board and becomes the primary official document concerning the incident. And he's meticulously gone through the lighthouse and the island and the logbook entries, interviewed the crew of the Hesperus and anyone else who had last seen the keeper. So I'm assuming that's going to be the crew of the Hesperus if that's the main ship that swaps the lighthouse staff over. What they're going to be able to tell them, but if it was a few weeks beforehand, I don't know. I suppose how they seemed is probably the best you can come up with. One of the initial and the most prominent theories that was thought about was that the keepers had been swept away by a really large wave, or at least like sudden storm event, whilst they were attending duties outside the lighthouse. And
Possible.
this sort of gained some, I think this does sound the most plausible to an extent, but this theory gained a lot of traction due to the exposed nature of the landing stage and the West Landing, both which were very vulnerable to the coughing on the Atlantic. So, Muirhead's report noted damage consistent with extreme weather, such as a broken crane and dislodged equipment near the West Landing. And he suggested that one keeper might have been caught out and the others, in an attempt to rescue him, were also taken out to sea, which I don't think seems right. If there's two oilskins, why would the one without the oilskin go out? Or would...
Yeah, it doesn't make sense that they all went out, but there was...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's odd.
Yeah, the theory does encounter inconsistencies, like the logbook entries from the 15th definitely mention these severe gales. Other weather reports from the mainland and from the Hesperus say it was calm. There were calm seas around the Flannan Islands leading up to the ship's arrival. And obviously, you got the fact that 2 sets of oilskins were missing, implying 2 men were outside while one was apparently inside eating his dinner or his breakfast or a late supper. I don't think that was ever established.
No.
And it complicates this simple swept away by a single wave scenario.
Yeah.
And you look at the state of the living quarters, particularly this half-eaten meal and the upturned chair. It also suggested a sudden, unexpected departure rather than a planned
like
exodus.
he's rushed out for some reason.
Something has caused him to rush out without his oilskins.
Yeah.
But despite all these ambiguities, that was the official conclusion of the Northern Lighthouse Board. That they've gone for this. It was a rogue wave or a storm. And it attributes this tragedy to how dangerous it is working in this lighthouse in such an exposed location.
All 3 of them as well.
You've got the lack of, terrible, absolutely terrible. But it's this lack of any other obvious explanation or any bodies. They never found the bodies. It leaves this as the most obvious, I would say, answer, even if it didn't fully fit all the details that were observed at the lighthouse. But then you've still got to separate fact from speculation. So after this immediate discovery at Eilean Mòr, it left the investigators and the wider public scrabbling around with a series of mystifying details. So to understand the real extent of what went on, this mystery, it's important to separate what was seen, the actual facts, what we definitely know, from all the speculation, all the guesswork. So the most widely reported, verified observations when the Hesperus and Joseph Moore initially went on to the island, we know that the lighthouse was operational, the lamp was lit, the mechanism was wound, and the light was functioning correctly. So that indicates that the keepers hadn't just abandoned, hadn't just wandered off, as it were.
Yeah.
They hadn't left their post. They hadn't failed to do their duty. They had worked on the lamp to keep it working.
Yeah.
The other thing Joseph Moore noticed was that the main entrance gate was unlocked, which is a breach of protocol. It's in regulations that the gate should always be secured. Then you've got the kitchen and living quarters, obviously, where you've got that meal, with either breakfast or an early supper, was found half-eaten. And then you've got the upturned chair, which was on the floor. So that's, as you said, that suggests a sudden, unexpected departure.
Yeah, that rushing out.
Rather than they've planned this.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, they were faking it. They haven't mentioned that. Then, obviously, the missing oilskins, the 2 sets of oilskins that had gone from their hooks, indicates that 2 of the 3 keepers had gone outside. But as I said, it was Donald MacArthur, the occasional lighthouse keeper. It was his oilskin that was still hanging up
Right.
And he was he had a reputation for him being meticulous about his gear.
So for him to run out there without his oil skin on, which looks like what's happened, it must have been something quite significant for him to just run out there and not even put on if he.
Got to be important.
Yeah. Matter of life or death, maybe.
Yeah. If you haven't even got time to consider your own safety, something serious has happened.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
We look at the logbook entries as well. So the last entry was from that 9 o'clock in the morning on the 15th of December, talking about the severe gales, and the fact that we know that the mainland and where Hesperus was, during its journey, the calm conditions. This wasn't corroborated by anyone else. But you've also got the damage to the landing area. So when Muirhead did his investigation, he noticed damage to equipment near the West Landing. There was like ropes thrown all over the place, and there was an iron railing that had been damaged as well. So that would suggest there were extreme weather conditions. So from these observations, we can draw certain inferences, while others remained in the realm of conjecture. So we know about the light, we know about the state of the kitchen and the chair, so that suggests a sudden event. The missing oil skins show that two people were definitely prepared to go outside, and then you've got the damage on the landing, which supports this heavy weather.
Right.
But it's still, as much as we know all those facts, you've still got many questions that remain unanswered by these facts alone. So if a rogue wave swept them away, why were their bodies never found?
Yeah, I was going to say that's quite unusual. Given how the island was, you would have thought they would, for all three, if all three of them have been swept away and not a single body, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. But in my logic, whether it's right or not, is you've put a lighthouse on this island because ships keep getting blown or drawn towards them.
Yes.
Well, surely a body
would, yeah. It wouldn't get swept away. That's really strange.
Yeah, the next question that comes up is that logbook discrepancy. Why does it mention severe gales when everyone else experienced nicer weather? Could it be that the Hesperus's crew had simply missed a localised weather event? Maybe it was just in that little area it was bad.
Yeah.
Or was the log entry exaggerated or fabricated by one of the keepers? Well, yeah. So
that opens up a whole new world, doesn't it?
Obviously there's no struggle inside the lighthouse, so that you could rule out an internal dispute or violence inside the lighthouse. But over the years, there's always going to be various theories have emerged. It blur the line, especially as time goes by and people have forgotten about this. So it blurs those lines between plausibility and explanation and speculation. While ideas of you see also there's suggestions of sea monsters or foreign spies or alien abduction is another one I've seen online.
I thought alien abduction might crop up, to be honest.
Yeah, funny enough, I'm going to rule that one out. So it's a case study in the unexplained. It's what people like in a mystery.
Yeah.
Whatever that was. Then I assumed from that impression you were going to suggest they might have been attacked by walruses.
That may have happened. Were there walruses there? Who knows?
Well, I've just heard one in Essex, so it's just going so well. One of
Did my cough just ruin it?
Yeah, stop. I don't know. I'll bother. I might as well. Yeah, I feel like coughing now. I don't even want to.
Go on.
I'm going to continue. So one of the many reasons that this mystery still appeals is because people love a mystery. It's unsolved. It's human disappearance, and it's in this brilliantly isolated location. So you can sort of rule out human agency. No one else is going there to cause this. Because unless you're a regular there, you don't know how dangerous it is trying to approach it, I would have thought.
Wow.
You've also got this image of you got this image of this fully functioning lighthouse. And from what I understand, the light was still flashing when the ship turned up. Yet there's no one there. So it's got this potential visual contradiction, and it invites speculation. And all the conspiracy theories, especially nowadays, you get the idiots who'll just believe the first thing they hear. So I assume we had conspiracy theorists then, just not as bad now because they didn't have social media.
No.
But the absence of bodies, despite the extensive searches that they carried out, just intensifies people's fascination.
That's the one thing that is makes you think, yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, what's going on? Yeah,
where have they
actually?
Very
strange. Normally.
Yeah, but then how could they have got off the island?
Well,
it's so isolated.
Having looked at the photos of the island, obviously that had to be some wave as well. That would be a big wave to sweep them off there, unless high winds and they've been carried off.
Yeah.
This story has inspired a lot of creative works. You've got, at the time, 1912, there was a fellow called Wilfred Wilson Gibson wrote a poem called Flannan Isles, and it was very evocative. His verse reimagined the discovery, and it weaved in elements of foreboding.
Random elephants
on this island, do they? Yeah.
That's what happened. Elephants carried them away.
Mystery solved. But he mentions like the eerie silence found at the lighthouse, and it significantly contributed to the mysteries and the romanticism and its enduring fame. And then later on, there was a Scottish composer called Peter Maxwell Davies who created an opera called The Lighthouse in 1979. I bet that was something. But it showcased how unsettling nature, the unsettling nature of this disappearance still resonated all these years later. This is like 80 years later. But then in more recent times, there was a film, 2018, so only a few years ago, called The Vanishing, which starred Gerard Butler. Sorry, I almost said actor Gerard Butler. Then that would have been a big mistake. It starred Gerard Butler and a fellow called Peter Mullen, who's quite a good actor.
Oh, right. I've not seen that film actually.
I turned it off because I can't stand Gerard Butler. You just get a tray and put a jacket on it, and it's going to be just as good as he is. So it fictionalised the plot involving a conflict and discovery, which wasn't part of the historical record. It's made up.
No,
as they do. I want to say Hollywood. I don't know.
So what was their kind of storyline?
So I turned it off.
Oh, so you don't know. Okay.
Give you the full story.
No.
But its existence sort of suggests this continued interest in Eilean Mòr and the mystery around it, as well as there's lots of documentaries, radio programs. I think I heard and I think I've since heard a podcast about it, and there's lots of books. If you go online, you'll find several books about it. But they all delve into this case, and they analyse the facts, and they dissect the theories, and keep keeping it alive for new generations. And no doubt each one will come up with a different, fantastic suggestion as to what happened. And that's Eilean Mòr. That's the Eilean Mòr mystery.
Wow.
Where did these three blokes go?
How rotten for their families as well, because they would have been expecting them to come back, and instead we don't know where they are.
They got missing. Not only have they gone missing, they're never found. They haven't got a body to bury.
No, nothing. That's
terrible.
Yeah. Whoa, well.
That is it. So just over half an hour, which would have been about 20 if I hadn't been interrupted.
With my coughing, my coughing comes in useful because it longs things out, gives people a little bit more content. But no, that was aside from me coughing my way through it, and I do apologise. I didn't cough that much. I was that was my chair, by the way, that sound.
If you say so.
It definitely was. Anyway, on that note, thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed the podcast of James talking and me coughing and my chair squeaking. And just remember, we're not experts, we're just two amateurs muddling through history.
Thank you for listening to the We're Not Experts History Podcast. You can find us on Instagram at We're Not Experts Podcast, where you will also find our link tree on the profile page. If you enjoyed the podcast, please give us a like on whichever app you listen to and share with your friends.